Taipei always has that like 5'11" kid that throws like 83 miles an hour and pitches a perfect game every other day at the World Series.
If they didn't have the pitch count, like the pitch restriction,
Oh, these kids would be insane.
it would be Japan or Chinese Taipei
every single time,
every single year.
I mean, like the teams, like you ever see like the Netherlands and Italy in there? Like they never do well. Australia, yeah, they're gone a couple games.
The problem though is like the Asian kids, like we're like the same height and like the same weight as Americans up until like we turn like 15, and then Americans just like keep going, and we're just like kind of stuck there.
I mean, dude, imagine an 83 miles an hour fastball coming to you from 46 feet.
Yeah,
it's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of the Empire Hour podcast. I'm your host, Sammy, and I am joined today by honestly a person that's become a really good friend of mine, Mr. Dan Pan.
Feel got
yeah, we're doing. Yeah, I got to dap up.
Yeah.
Dan is the mastermind behind the camera. Dan and I have known each other now, what, a year and a half, 2 years maybe? I mean, like we've like known each other for longer, but I don't think we really got.
We have known of each other for probably more than 2.5 years, but I feel like, you know, you go to the same gym as another dude, and there's that like, I don't want to talk to you because I'm in here and I'm trying to get bigger than you kind of thing.
We were always those people that kind of just give each other like the small like nod at the gym back in the day, but never actually like it rekindled until I launched Empire, and Dan was like, hey, let me do your media. It'll be the best choice you ever make. So
so you want to start there then?
Yeah. We'll start there.
Okay, so
that's a good little.
So I feel like because, you know, Eddie also behind the camera, got to give shout out to him too. He's probably the one that you guys see in Empire more than myself.
Shout out to Eddie.
But in these podcasts, I like to give people insight as to like what happened behind the scenes, and like I know Sammy did that in episode 2 with how Empire was built.
There's a lot of stuff I left out.
But before Empire was even built, Empire had to be branded so that he could know how to build it. And so like let's take like 5 minutes and talk about that.
I think it's really important for people to know, you know, like first off, there's a major difference between like just having a company and having an actual brand, right? And I think that's what I really want, you know, like this place to become is an actual brand that people, you know, like think of more than just fitness, right?
Yeah.
Lifestyle type stuff. So yeah, I'll kind of give you, you know, like a little bit of the floor here to kind of explain.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if we have to cut this out of the podcast, we'll cut it out of the podcast. But so Sammy comes to me, when was it, like August of last year, this time last year?
Yeah, I signed my lease in October, but I remember signing my letter of intent back in either June or July, and then there was a couple months, but like I kind of knew that I had the space locked down, so yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very well connected in the fitness private gym owning space, and so like I know the numbers on gyms, I know the numbers on how much overhead people usually have, how much gym equipment costs. So Sammy comes to me in August last year, and he tells me, I think I'm gonna open a gym. And I mean, like, my first words out of my mouth was like, I don't think you should do it.
Yeah, basically I was like, hey, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but we're gonna do it, and I would love your help. And Dan was literally like, I think you're insane, but okay.
I think we had 3 phone calls where I told you not to do it, and then by the 4th one, I was like, all right, this guy's gonna do it.
All right, he's just gonna send it.
So I might as well do what I can, do my part to help him. And so, but I think the smart choice that you made, and I think you've reaped the fruits of the initial sacrifice and the initial investment was that you started branding Empire from the very first day.
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important. I think that's really what like attracts people, right? Yeah. Obviously, you know, when you walk into a gym, you want to walk into a place that you feel like you could see yourself improving in, right? Obviously, yes, like the overall aesthetic of the place is important, but like there's way more to that. And I think just, you know, like Dan and I actually really gave the keys to Dan on this with the logo, with a lot of stuff where I was like, hey, I don't really know anything about this, but you know, I'm gonna trust you essentially with my life here, so.
Yeah. I think the first question that as a business owner, I think you have to get clear on is you can't really sell to every single person, especially when you're in such a large, there's 2 markets here that are really in play. So like the local market is the where you live. And so in the Raleigh market, I'm sure you have some outliers, but there are so many group fitness places and there's so many gym offerings that we really have to get specific on like people more than likely will not drive more than 10 miles to come here.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a place, like I said in the other podcast, this is a place that you come to where chances are you've been in group fitness for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and you're kind of looking for that next step, right? So that's really kind of what we nailed down. It's like, okay, you've been in your place for a while, and maybe you're bored, maybe you haven't found what you are looking at. Maybe even you're a person that goes to a box gym on your own, but is kind of tired of working out by yourself and has, years of experience in that matter. And that's really kind of where the vision kind of started for Empire as far as like the brand goes, and we really catered a lot to that. So
yeah, and then I think the second part of like the demographic that we nailed down was the age group and what you wanted to be versus what you didn't want to be. I think one of the struggles for a lot of people that want to open a gym is that you think you're very different in your head, but then when I make you tell me the reasons why you're different, you're not really that different. It's just like, but you feel like it's your business. So at the end of the day, you're like, I'm different because this is Sammy's business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important where, when we really started this, our vision for the place was, okay, the average age will probably be anywhere from 27 to 35, but it's not necessarily like if you're above that age, Empire won't necessarily be for you. It's the fact that you have to be okay with how we, run things here.
Well,
right?
I think it's less about that, and it's more like that's who we're going to target with our marketing and with just like the overall vibe of the gym. And if you're like 40 and you fuck with that, like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, it's great. And we've gotten an abundance of new members over the last month from, a couple gyms that have recently closed down in Raleigh, and obviously it's awesome. But would I say that a lot of the members, was I worried with them coming in? I wouldn't say worried, but I was definitely hopeful that they would enjoy the energy, enjoy the atmosphere. And I just honestly, I really give a lot of credit to just the overall, not just the Empire brand, but the Empire community for welcoming those people in. And it's been awesome since obviously that has happened. So
yeah. So let's go back to the timeline. So August, we decided we're going to do this thing together.
Yeah.
I think ideas are great. Ideas turned into something you can see is what drives people to actually say, I'm going to pay you for what you're building. And so I think the logo was the next thing that we came up with. And I sent you, we have a logo questionnaire, shameless plug. We run a marketing agency.
Yes.
But one of the things on that questionnaire, we go through everything. So I mean, whether you're in real estate, fitness, supplements, tattoo shops, auto body shops, whatever, this questionnaire is for you. And so on a scale of 0 to 10, I think this was the best one for you. How hardcore do you want your brand to be perceived?
Yeah.
And you're closer to 10 there. On a scale of inclusive to exclusive, how inclusive or exclusive do you want to see on a scale of 1 to 10? You're probably going to be more on the exclusive side, but definitely inclusive still.
Absolutely.
And then on a scale of approachable versus intimidating, what do you want to be? I think there's a lot of approachable group fitness places around, so we tried to cater you more towards the more intimidating side of things for the second generation lifter, like you said.
Absolutely.
And then once we did that, there's so many things that go on in a marketing person's brain. And when we think about creating, we talked about it all the time, we just want this brand to be hard.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard.
The goal was for the person to walk through the doors of Empire and be like, holy shit, this is the real deal. And I think we really, again, nailed that down, not just with the logo, but, the overall aesthetic of the place, right? The energy, everything, right? With our workouts, with the music that we play, there's a lot that goes into the thought and, the branding of it all. But yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to the logo, I think it's simple, but, elegant at the same time, right? It doesn't have to be super flashy to catch someone's attention, but it has to be catered to what we want to do.
Just think about font choices too, and so this is all back-end stuff that we do, but even this, I mean Team ETA, you don't see any curves on this, on that
Same
font.
thing with his as well.
Yeah, I'm a minimalist.
There we go.
But like, so we chose a font that was sharp lines, all of that stuff. When we post social media graphics, like sharp lines, clean detail, all of that stuff. And so like the goal is, and I call marketing in 2025 a lot like, and this is really funny, I'll tell a story about this in just a second, but marketing, and specifically social media in 2025, it's literally just a dating profile. Like the majority of people, before they buy a good from you, before they come and purchase your service, they want to look at you and know the person that they're going to date before they even go on that first date. And I think it's really funny because I was just thinking about like what we wanted to talk about on this podcast, and I just remembered before I got here that when I was 21, my buddies, like I would be the one when they were making Tinder profiles that would like pick the 7 pictures for them on their Tinder profile because like I know the kind of girl they want, and so I'm gonna pick the pictures based on like the kind of chick that they're going for.
Exactly. It's the exact same thing when it comes to branding. It's like, who do you want to attract? What are we going to post in order to attract that person? No, yeah, you nailed it on the head like that. Tinder profile example is a crazy example right there. But
I just remembered that, and it just popped in my head. I was like, I had at least 4 friends where they were like, you know, when you're on Hinge, when you're on Tinder, you only get like so many pictures, and like you got to put them in the right order, and like that shit's definitely a science too.
Yeah. Could have used your help back in the day, but it's all right. Things worked out. So.
Well, Aaron's sitting over there, so I don't think we want to be too loud about that. But yeah, I mean, just going through the timeline too. I guess like in the last video, you talked about like the construction difficulties and all of that. I think one of the things that, you know, I don't know if another brand could replicate, but for you, like I saw instant success, and maybe it's just a like props to you for noticing a gap in the market, but you never really had like a membership community struggle opening up.
No, and I obviously have to give credit to my team for that. I have to give credit to the staff, but I think it takes a special talent to bring a big group of people. You know, I mean, I'm not going to be cheesy and say like, you know, essentially bringing people together as one, but honestly, like that's really what the community here is. I think it just. Again, I think it's a place that people could just come and be themselves, and I think people really gravitate to the, you know, to that specific, you know, energy, I would say, right? And yeah, no, I really never had a struggle with that. I mean, I think it all really happened really organically, and yeah, like you are 100% right. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to branding, when it comes to finding your ideal customer. I always said from the bat, Empire is not for everybody, right? Like there have been people that have come in. I wouldn't, you know, like necessarily I wouldn't really say that there have been, you know, people that have come in and didn't really like their first class, but there are more people than not that have chosen, you know, like not to join us. And that's 100% fine, right? This place isn't made for everyone, but yeah, I think when you start a business, I think you have to understand that you are not going to be everybody's ideal place that they want to be. But yeah, I didn't want to be just like any other group, you know, fitness atmosphere out there. And I just think we did a really good job of that.
Yeah, I think community, I think that was a really cool point that I want to touch on real quick before we move on to something else. But I think in the very beginning, you know, like if you were to ask just someone like how they would market a gym, I feel like it's a lot about the equipment. And like you have great equipment here, but like I work with gym equipment all day. Like I've seen pieces of gym equipment that are worth like $15,000. Like what makes this gym is not really the equipment, it is the atmosphere. Yeah. And so we have a really big focus. If you take one swipe on the Instagram page, you're gonna see at least 50 different people on that page. Yeah. And like that is just back end work that we knew that like, again, bringing back the dating profile thing, like if I looked at this page and I did one scroll, what are the odds that I would see someone that either looks like me or that I want to look like? And, you know, I think that's why we post so many community pictures also, because like, I think you texted us in the very beginning that you wanted more of that. People love to see themselves.
Yeah, no, people love to see themselves. I think it's important for people because I think it also makes them feel extremely appreciated as well. You know, it's like, hey, if you're walking through those doors, if you're going to be paying us for a monthly membership, like we want you to know, like, hey, we genuinely appreciate, you know, like, you know, every time you walk through these doors. And I think it's really good for people to see out there too. It's like, hey, this is a place that I could go in and I could, essentially be a part of something bigger than myself.
Yeah,
right?
and how important is it too? I feel like we really ripped the Band-Aid off here, but from day one, actually before day one, when you had that Founders Week, we were already in here filming.
Yeah,
So
100%.
everyone in here, like when a camera comes out, they know what we're doing. But I don't think that's always the case. We get hired by different people.
Game face on when the camera comes out.
When the camera comes out, it's like, whoa, I didn't know that we were going to be doing all this today.
Yeah.
And I feel like, not to toot your horn, not to toot my horn, but just having the awareness that you wanted to do it from the very beginning has just made it so much easier for you.
I don't think people expected the drone to fly through the VIP class, but that was on another level.
Yeah, that was one
Dan,
of the better flights I've had in my life.
Dan did not tell me that was going to occur. Essentially, he was like, all right, I expect everybody to act completely natural. The door opens and boom, a fucking drone just flies through the door. That was pretty. That was insane.
But like I feel like just that video alone sold so many memberships.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a random Wednesday in the middle of winter, and yeah, like I think we had chosen to do
like a free
one
promo
free
class,
week,
yeah.
one free class, but also then like one free week, and it's just because like to be able to cultivate a group of like 500 plus people, right? That we have right now. It's like it doesn't just take me. It doesn't just take my coaches. It doesn't just take our managers. All of the rest of the staff. It takes everyone to be a welcoming presence for people.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's going to be any like people that are watching this that want to build a gym like Sammy, but I think if you don't open it the way that he opened it, it can be hard, and like your class numbers are low, but you want to start like the marketing, you want to start the social media stuff. Like we can't, and your classes aren't full. I would say just create a full class. So like on a Wednesday, like you said, invite all the members that you have, bring some food, bring some drinks, and then go about your marketing that way instead of trying to film and there's nothing worse than filming an empty class.
Yeah.
It's really hard for us to do our job.
Yeah,
I feel like people watching it aren't really enticed to join.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that me and you said we wanted to hit on before we got on this is I know most of the time the person that is in this seat on the Empire Hour is most likely going to be one of your assistant coaches.
Yeah.
So me as a fellow business owner, I want to touch on that a little bit with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I have seen you change a lot in the past 6 months, 8 months.
Oh boy.
Describe that change. Describe what it's been like to go from, I'll call you a civilian.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's
what are the myths?
I think.
Can I feed you a line right now?
Yeah, 100%.
I think a very, very common misconception is when you become a business owner, you gain freedom.
Oh no, there's no freedom in being a business owner, man. But I think there's a way to buy back your time in a really quick manner, which I have been able to do. I mean, I was able to take a trip, with Aaron a couple weeks ago down to the beach. I think it's really important to establish a culture and a team that people want to be a part of. I will say a lot of our staff here I have known from previous gigs at jobs, or like, hey, a lot of our staff was, members at OTF, or a lot of our staff were, members here at ETA first. A lot of our coaches were, and I think it's really important to build a team that genuinely wants to be a part of it. And I think you could probably tell who really wants to be a part of it by who's for example at Empire, right? Who's a really dedicated member who has fallen in love with the product, a lot so to the point where they want to be able to give it back to other people.
I mean, like, dude, look at that wall right here.
Yeah,
it's crazy
have a wall.
That you have people.
Yeah.
You probably have people that are coming up on 150, right?
We do have people at 150 over there.
Oh wow. Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, to being a business owner over the last 8 months, I think really what I've learned is, I actually think to start with some difficult lessons I've learned. I've always had a problem. I wouldn't even call it a problem, but obviously, I think deep down everybody cares about this. But I think, deep down you learn that you're not going to be everybody's friend. You're not going to be everybody's best friend. You have to make some hard choices along the way. I used to care, and I finally got over that hump. I really used to care way too much about what people thought of me and my image. And I now it's, I understand as a business owner, you really have to try to, brush that away to where it's like, hey, you always have to do not only what's best for you, but what's best for the brand as well. But over the last, 8 months, it's like you're gonna have a lot of nights where you don't sleep. I mean, I think for the first month, I hardly ate. I was rarely ever home because I always felt like if I were to leave Empire, something was gonna go wrong. So I was here even during the hours that there weren't any classes, on the days where we would only have 4 classes in a day. Mm-hmm. I think it's allowed me to really build a lot of confidence in myself, confidence in my team that, yeah, if you have a product and if you have a community, right, the rest is going to kind of, take care of itself. But being a business owner has really taught me a lot where, you really have to value the time that you are putting in, but you also have to be able to decompress out of it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one thing that hopefully, we have conversations all the time, but I think one of the reasons why we work well together is because I am, and Eddie knows this, anyone that works for me knows this, when an idea is in my head, I'm already 2 steps into either implementing the idea or finding out that what I want to do in that idea has not happened already.
Yeah.
So talk about moving quickly. I mean, your gym was the definition of a idea concept turned reality super fast. How important is it to be able to go from, I want to do the illustration one day, and I don't know how people do these, and it's funny because I'm a social media guy, but I don't know how they do these really trendy, minimalistic graphics. Maybe I need to hire someone. But I always tell people, the time you have an idea to the time you execute, that time in between is where you can run circles around other people.
Yeah, I think it's really important to think things through, but I also think it's really important to take risks. I mean, you took a massive risk by opening up this place, right? Okay. What's the worst that could happen if another risk that's not as big as the one that you took opening this place? Okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Dude, paying me when you didn't have the money to pay me.
Yeah, I mean, Dan essentially gave me his quote, which I'm not going to disclose, but Dan essentially gave me his quot, and I was like,
it was lower than what I normally charge.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do that, but I guess we're just going to make it work. And Dan and Eddie are 2 of the most important team members of UTA. But yeah, I mean, I had no idea how this shit worked at first, but yeah, I think when it comes to moving fast, again, I think you have to figure out ways to really separate yourself from the other members of the pack. I genuinely don't think there's anything like ETA in Raleigh as far as the product, as far as the community goes, as far as how hands-on the coaching is in a class full of, literally 48 people in a 4,000 square foot space. Yeah. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to have the vision. No. Best advice I've ever had was the people who struggle the most when it comes to running a business are the people that know how to run a business but don't have the vision for it.
Yeah.
When you have a vision, when you have a passion, everything business-wise is 100% teachable, right? Learnable. I still have no idea what the hell I'm doing some days. But when you have a nagging vision for something and you just know that it's going to work out, I mean, that's why I was so forthcoming with you to say, hey, no, I'm doing this, I know it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are an entrepreneur out there that, really has a vision for it, obviously, yes, with the risk is going to come some sort of consequence at times, but life's too short to hold back. You just gotta go with it, and you will find any freaking way to make it work.
Yeah.
Any freaking way to make it. I was gonna be content with, 150 members by June.
Side note, hopefully we can make this happen. But I have a video of him at the grand opening saying that if he got 300 members by June, that he was going to jump off the roof.
Yeah.
So I've been looking into parachute companies that'll like put a parachute on the ground, because like he hit like 400. So I'm going to hold him to his word.
Yeah.
If anything, for a marketing stint. But like I'm actually going to make him jump off the roof if the landlord says it's okay.
Yeah. I told him, I was like, hey, fuck it, I'm just going to go get a tattoo and says, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah.
I mean, I think one of the and I guess we'll close with this one, would be like you, and we talk about this all the time, like how much your life has changed and how much you have experienced that, like being a business owner at a relatively young age is something that can be very isolating.
Oh man, isolating. I can count on multiple hands the amount of really good quality friends that I've had that I honestly rarely even, I talk to anymore. I mean, yeah, like it can get really lonely when you have a thriving business, but like, yes, obviously I'm so grateful for Aaron and my marriage and everything, but yeah, like there are a lot of times where it's nice to have other people to go to as well and say, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about that? But I think it gets lonely in a sense where you are up throughout all wee hours of the night and you're just thinking to yourself, I don't think anyone is going to understand the magnitude of what I'm trying to do, no matter how hard I explain it.
Yeah, I think I'll drop this one-liner for you, and I think about life in one-liners, so that hopefully one day I can get these like printed and like sell them. But
post them on the wall.
Yeah, we'll put some. Well, you'll have to pay me perpetuity for that. But I feel like a lot of people, they see a business owner and they see someone with like no freedom, that works too hard. But I feel like I would rather be a slave to what I believe my purpose in this world is and have that drive me 24/7 than be a slave to someone else's purpose.
Yep. Empire does not work for me.
Yeah.
Never has been and never will be. I come in here every day. The people here make it so fucking easy to wake up every day, come coach classes. We have a great time. Yeah, I mean, I think to go off your point one more time, where it's like when it gets lonely, right? And then obviously we'll, wrap it up. But when it gets lonely, it's a sense of again, no one understands what you are truly thinking until you actually do it. And I think when you're not able to speak to a lot of people in terms of what the vision is, right? Like, you have to also learn to say no to a lot of things. I mean, Aaron and I have had to turn down weddings, a lot of events, a lot of stuff, just because, number one, at one point we were broke. Yeah. But number two, it's like.
And going off that point real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, they try to do this math thing where like you'll say you have 450 members, they'll like multiply that times the cost of the membership, and they'll be like, Sammy's rolling in it right now.
Yeah.
That money doesn't touch Sammy's personal bank account,
Yeah.
I can assure you that.
Yeah, and then when you find out that your rent's $12,000 and your marketing bill and your everything bills, right? Payroll, like obviously with how much we've grown, right? Like we have a big staff now. We're still a long ways away from paying off the SBA loan debt.
Yeah. Most people don't get that.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you really need. It's not something that's even worth sitting down and like taking the time to explain to them. Because then it just sounds like you're complaining.
Yeah, and again, right? Like we have had to say no to a lot of things in life. Honestly, we have probably. I mean, again, there are a lot of people that Aaron and I used to speak to that we don't even say a word to anymore, right?
That's real, yeah.
And it's just because. I was dead set on not letting this thing fail, and I was going to do anything I can to make it be what it is right now and what it's going to be still. But yeah, that's how really lonely it gets, where only, not even my parents understood what I was going through, right? Aaron obviously did, but yeah, it does get lonely being a business owner.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think we have Jensen waiting in the wings right now.
Yes. Jensen's up next, but hey, we're gonna start to roll out these episodes a lot more consistently. It's just been a crazy couple weeks, but Dan, thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Proud of you.
The ride is just getting started.
Yeah.